Come on, dumbass.
He's recording. He says, "Come on, dumbass."
That's perfect. I'm all about it. Gotta love getting caught up in a traffic jam heading to the boat. That's fine. Schedule's just shifting to the right. Don't mean we ain't gonna get there. And we did get there. We're back on Lagniappe Sailing after 6 weeks of her sitting on the hard getting worked on in New Orleans. Now, when we brought Lagniappe Sailing over to New Orleans, we were held up by the Danziger Bridge. As fate would have it, calling ahead 2 or 3 times an hour or two in advance got us to the bridge, and our wait wasn't more than 5 minutes. If in the recesses of your mind you're trying to figure out where you've heard Danziger Bridge, not every story tied to these waters come from 100 years ago. Some of them are a lot more recent. In the days after Hurricane Katrina in 2005, New Orleans was overwhelmed. Communications were down, and law enforcement was stretched razor thin, and a whole lot of confusion about what was actually happening. On the Danziger Bridge, police that were already stretched thin and very high stressed reported to gunfire. What followed was not a gunfight. 2 people were killed and several others were severely wounded. In the aftermath, reports didn't match what actually happened. It took years, investigations, federal charges before the full story came to light. Several officers were eventually convicted, though appeals and retrials followed. It became one of the most well-known cases tied to the breakdowns that followed Katrina. Moments of history like that, they remind you how thin the line can get when everything around you starts falling apart, and how important it is to get it right when it does. But for us, we're passing under this bridge, that sore spot in history, and moving on to Gulfport. The next bridge we have to contend with is the CTX Railroad Bridge. Now, this was the quick bridge on our trip over to New Orleans, but on this day we had to wait about 20 minutes. As this bridge starts to raise and we make our way in, you start to see how everything connects out here. Water, road, and rail. The line that runs across this bridge that's raising is part of the CSX transportation network, one of the major freight systems in the country. These tracks along the Gulf Coast have been moving cargo for well over a century, linking ports, cities, and industries all the way from the Atlantic across the Southeast and deep into the Midwest. And right here, this stretch plays a key role. Everything from fuel to chemicals to building materials, even food products. All of it can come through here by rail before it ever hits a truck. What makes this spot interesting is that you've got 2 worlds coming together in one place. On one side, rail traffic that doesn't stop, tight schedules, heavy loads, and miles to cover. And on the other, marine traffic, like us, albeit we're private traffic, but moving at a completely different pace. The marine traffic deals with tides, weathers, and clearance. So every now and then, one of them's got to give way. In this case, it's the bridge. This span lifts up to let vessels pass through. A quick pause in the rail line, so everything out here can keep moving the way it's supposed to. It's a system that's been refined over time. Not perfect, but it works. Eventually. You'll see it all along the Gulf Coast. These crossing points where industry meets open water. And if you sit here long enough, you'll watch the rhythm of it. As we pass under the CSX, I found a line that needed to be removed. Gotta wave to those fishermen though. However, I can't get this thing untangled. Alright guys, are you catching any fish? What you catching? Oh, they got some. Good deal. Alright, back to this line. So this line was tied on here and I couldn't get it untied. So I break out my trusty dusty key knife, open it up, and get this line off this rail. And just as I get it off, good Lord, I need to sharpen that knife. My keys fall apart. That key at the bottom of the frame damn near went through the trampoline. That would have been a bad day. So the bridge we're passing under now is the high-rise bridge, which has about 55,000 cars that pass it every day. No telling how many boats are coming under this in the Intracoastal Canal. Now, where we're heading once we leave this high-rise bridge, our next barrier that we have to get to is the lake-borne surge barrier. This is one of the biggest changes in New Orleans hurricane protection after Katrina. Back in 2005, that surge didn't just come in, it got funneled in. Water moved from the Gulf, across Lake Borgne, and straight into the industrial canal, building up speed and force as it squeezed its way towards the city. Thus, all the flooding that you saw. These gates are what protect New Orleans now from that funnel effect. We ended up getting held up at these gates for about 30 minutes. And if the gates are closed and you're trying to get through them, they don't have radio. The phone number you call, you're going to get a recording. We finally ended up getting some maintenance guys to see me out there giving the old Forrest Gump wave from the bow of the boat and pointing at the gate, and they went and opened it for us to get through. It takes a few minutes for the gate to open wide enough, and this being a wide draft catamaran, we needed to have it open pretty well. And I don't know if you noticed, but you saw how the boat was kind of shimmying and moving. The water in the Gulf of Mexico was higher, so when they opened the gates, we had to deal with the current that was coming through. But once past here, we're done with all barriers, all contacting. We're done with CSX. We're done with Danziger. Now we're done with this flood barrier, and we are going into the Intercoastal Canal until we get to the Mississippi Sound itself. So for the next few minutes of this video, you're going to see this stretch right here. It's part of the Intercoastal Waterway. Basically protected highway running along the Gulf Coast. Instead of heading out into open water, boats can move through these canals and marshes, staying inside where it's calmer and more predictable. It does, however, have its fair share of commercial traffic. This route runs all the way from New Orleans, and out ahead, it opens up into the Mississippi Sound. The Sound is a wide, shallow body of water, starting behind a chain of barrier islands. Places like Cat Island, Ship Island, Deer Island, Horn Island, all of those are barrier islands that protect the Gulf Coast during storms, but also protect small crafts between those islands and the coast with calmer seas. And while I'm talking about the Mississippi Sound, I have been doing videos on Cat Island and Ship Island so far. My plans are to take me to Deer and Horn as well to complete that series. It's a series on a playlist on this channel called The Sound. And speaking of the Sound, here we are in it. Mainsail up, jib sail out, trying to get those things to fill up, making our way across the Sound. Always nice when the sea state is not that rough, as you can tell by the way these hulls are cutting through that water. But hey, isn't it about time that I shut up and we go into a montage of pretty drone footage and louder background music? When we lost the last of the light, there wasn't much use in filming. Not much was going on by way of what we could pick up by lens. But here we are entering the Gulfport harbor, about 2200 hours. Now Captain Scott and I had discussed a plan to secure the starboard aft and pivot so he could back straight into this slip. Let me try to set the scene for you as we pass the fuel dock here. We have a 30-foot slip and a 28-foot beam boat that we are trying to fit into that slip. Once we got up here, Scott realized he wasn't going to be able to do that because of the bow sticking out from the boat on the starboard side of our slip. Herbert finally came and told me the change of plans right at the end before going to the port side to have a watch. Scott maneuvers this boat like he has done this all his life in the middle of the night, because he pretty much has. He can pretty much thread a needle with any boat, and if you need a boat moved, Scott St. Germain is the guy you need to contact. Because I don't know if you can tell, but this looks tight, tight, tight. I promise you it's even tighter off of the camera lens. Adjustments with the motors, and he backs us right into the slip like he'd done it a million times before. Hey, if y'all have made it this far in the video, please do me a favor and mash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, consider doing that as well. Any positive comment sure does help us as well with the algorithm. That's the kind of stuff that moves us on up. Now as we're easing back into this slip, I'm going to end up coming in and lashing off to this cleat. Here I come. Just touching the thing just to make sure that we aren't going to get anywhere near that dock. Eases on back. Got to get my line out and secure off to this cleat, and we'll be able to call it a night once we police up all the stuff that we had for this trip. Also, at the very end of this footage, I am going to have links to the Ship Island video and the Cat Island video in the Sound series. Y'all check those out. I think you might like them. I go into a little bit of history about those islands that we were on. Lagniappe Sailing back in Gulfport.